What's up, y'all? It's Sage. So a few months ago I was visiting New York and I had the incredible opportunity to see the Broadway production of the show Hamilton. For anyone who may not be super familiar with the show, Hamilton is essentially a musical that tells the story of Alexander Hamilton's life using hip-hop music. Now, you may or may not be a fan of musicals. Personally, I've never really been the biggest fan of musicals in general. However, this show blew my mind. It was so incredibly good, in fact, that it was easily the best play I've ever seen, and I've seen a lot of plays in my life, so on a side note, if you ever have a chance to see it, definitely do. But while it is notoriously difficult to get tickets, crazily enough, I actually happen to have an insanely talented, infinitely sweet friend that I love to death and I'm very thankful for, who was actually able to help hook me up with some tickets. So there I was on the night of the show in the theater, super excited to see my very first Broadway show ever. And the lights come up, the music begins, and the first number of the show, which is a song called Alexander Hamilton, begins, and this is what I hear.
How does a bastard, orphan, son of a whore and a Scotsman, dropped in the middle of a forgotten spot in the Caribbean by providence, impoverished and squalor, grow up to be a hero and a scholar?
Now, if you're familiar at all with me as a rapper, or if you've seen my flow remixing video, as you might imagine, my stupid rapper brain's first response upon hearing this was,
"Why is the flow so simple?"
Which obviously is a ridiculous response to have when you're getting to sit in a Broadway theater and watch what is arguably the best musical in the world right now. So once I told my rapper brain to shut up, get over itself, and enjoy the show, again, that's what I did. I loved every second of it. And to be fair, I actually realized in retrospect that as far as I can tell, the fact that that song and a few of the other songs throughout the show had more slowed down, more straightforward flows was actually a conscious decision, and a really smart one at that, because it allowed the audience members who may not have been fans of hip-hop to be able to more easily and accurately follow along with what was being said in the songs. So all that to say that I think that it was an incredibly smart choice for that context, and I mean absolutely no disrespect to anyone involved in the show, because again, I loved the entire thing all the way through. However, that being said, as a rapper who tends to employ much more complex flows, hearing lyrics that were that incredible being delivered through a flow that was much more straightforward kind of planted the question in my mind of whether it might be possible for someone to take those lyrics and keep all of the ideas and even the phrasing the same, but take the rhyme structures and cadences that were used in the flow and rearrange and augment them in order to create a new version of the song that says all of the same stuff, but says it using a bit more complex flow. And in that moment in the theater, the idea of flow remixing was born. Now, if you haven't seen my video on flow remixing, ideally I would recommend watching that before you listen to this song, just because it might be able to help provide some helpful context on what exactly this song is. But either way, that's exactly what I did. I went home and I looked up the instrumental and the lyrics, and I began rearranging the cadences and the rhyme structures that were used in the song while leaving the lyrical content as untouched as possible until I had effectively flow remixed the entire song. And the result of that is what I want to show you now. Just two final things before I do. First, if you've never heard the original version of the song Alexander Hamilton, if possible, I would recommend listening to that before this, simply because if you've never heard the original version, you may not be able to fully understand what exactly it is that I've changed in my remix. And second, the song does switch between rapping parts and singing parts. So like I said, while I did remix the flows of the rapping parts, I thought that it might be kind of weird if I didn't also include the singing parts as well. So I did my best to recreate all of the singing parts with my voice, but that being said, I'm a rapper, not a singer, so you've been warned. So now, without further ado, I hope you enjoy my Alexander Hamilton flow remix. How does an orphan, son of a whore and that of a Scotsman, that'd get dropped in a random forgotten spot in the Caribbean by providence, begin living in impoverished squalor with zero but his confidence, then grow to be known for accomplishments both as a hero and a scholar? It's the $10 founding father without a father that got a whole lot farther by working a lot harder and by being a whole lot smarter, by being a self-starter, and by the age of 14 it was paying off when they placed him in charge of his own trading charter. And every day while the slaves were being raided, slaughtered, invaded, incarcerated, and carted away over the waves and parted, he struggled on to keep his guard up. In his heart he was longing for something to be a part of, in need of a start. The brother was ready to borrow, to beg, steal, or to barter, But then came a hurricane and devastation reigned, and our main man began to see his future slipping, dripping away down the drain. So he went on the offensive, put a pencil to his temple, connected it to his brain, and he wrote his first ever refrain, a very effectively relayed testament to his pain. Well, when the word got around about it, they said, no doubt this kid is insane, man, and they take an extra special collection up just to send him to the mainland, saying go and get your education, but don't ever forget the place from which you came, and you better get ready, cause the way that you're heading, the world is gonna know your name. What's your name, man? Alexander Hamilton. My name is Alexander Hamilton, and there's a million things I haven't done, but just you wait, just you wait. When he was 10, his father split, full of it, debt-ridden. 2 years later, see Alex and his mother bedridden, half dead, sitting in their own sick, the scent thick. And Alex got better, but his mother went quick. Moved in with a cousin, the cousin committed suicide, left him with nothing but ruined pride. Something new inside, a voice saying, Alex, you gotta fend for yourself. He started retreating and reading every treatise on the shelf. There would have been nothing left to do for anyone less astute. He would have been left destitute, penniless, without a cent to restitution, or dead just as soon. But instead he suited up, and soon enough was working, clerking for his late mother's landlord, trading in rum and sugar cane and other various things that he can't afford, scamming for every book that he's able to get his hands on, planning for whatever the future will have in store. See him standing on the bow of a ship now as he heads out to see a new land. In New York you can be a new man. In New York you can be a new man. In New York you can be a new man. In New York you can be a new man. In New York, just you wait. Alexander Hamilton, Alexander Hamilton. We are waiting in the wings for you. Waiting in the wings for you. You can never back down and never learn to take your time. Oh, Alexander Hamilton, Alexander Hamilton. America sings for you. Will they know what you overcame? Will they know you rewrote the game? The world will never be the same. Whoa, ship is in the harbor now. See if you can spot him. Another immigrant coming up from the bottom. His enemies destroyed his rap. America forgot him.
We fought with him. Me, I died for him.
Me, I trusted him.
Me, I loved him.
And me, I'm the damn fool that shot him.
There's a million things I haven't done, but just you wait. What's your name, man? Alexander Hamilton.